welcome to the Act Up podcast, where we interview industry professionals who act down. I am so excited about this guest. By the way, my name is RHAVYNN DRUMMER, your host. I am so thrilled about this guest. We have the incomparable actress, producer, director, Miss Brittany Inge in the building.
Greetings.
It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you and all your mommy glory.
Oh, thank you. I am so excited to speak with you. You know, we go way back, and I'm happy that we're going to go way back with this conversation too. Well, before we get started, we have a little libations for you, a little non-alcoholic. Patrick, can you bring in our drankety drank?
Yes, look, we're not saying the name. They're not paying us.
Right.
So just the drankety drink is what it will be.
Oh yes, you can. Thank you so much. This is a little sparkling. What flavor is this? Sparkling apple cranberry.
Ooh,
yes,
come on.
yes.
I live. Thank you, Patrick.
You know, we're not quite drinking yet.
Yeah, I was about to say for different reasons. Let me clarify.
Exactly.
For different reasons, but yeah.
Well, let me just say, I'm so proud of you, Brittany.
Thank you.
I am so proud of you. Because. So Brittany we used to work together. We used to work at Tyler Perry Studios together. We can say that.
Yep.
And I just remember you when you was just like behind the desk. You was assisting and whatnot. And to see how you have the woman that you've blossomed into, the artist that you've blossomed into, is just incredible.
Thanks, Ray.
And I feel like just so privileged just to be a tiny, tiny, tiny little part of that. So,
I don't know about tiny, but okay.
So my question is, because a lot of people ask me, like, should I take jobs behind the camera, behind the scenes, if I'm an actor? Is that a good way of getting into the business? So, one, what was your position at TPS, if you don't mind me saying? And then, do you feel like that was a good entryway for you, or do you feel like it got in the way of being a full-time actor artist?
That's a really great question. I get that question a lot too. I always tell people that I don't think working in production, and this isn't true for everyone, but I don't think that working in production is a way into acting. Yeah. I think that you can sometimes get stuck, or, you know, all sorts of things can come from trying to take that route. Now, when I worked at TPS, I did not work in production. Right. So I literally kept the worlds completely separate. I had a corporate job with like healthcare. Okay, I had my benefits. I had my salary position. I was at a little desk. And the world.
You got insurance.
Okay, I did. I had insurance. You know what I'm saying? But I kept the worlds very separate. Like I was there, and it was nice to work for a company that was in the entertainment business and was on the creative side of life. But my job was very corporate, straight-laced, and then my auditioning and like pursuing acting was on its own. And even when I did sometimes get auditions for you, and I would be at work and I would clock out on my lunch break, go downstairs to do my audition. Like, it was separate. And I think that served me more so than getting into production and maybe finding my way into maybe something else I might have been good at, like costuming or PAing, but then getting caught up and getting stuck in that loop, knowing that I wanted to do and be something different. So I was very intentional about keeping it separate.
Do you feel like that corporate gig was helpful for you? And what I mean as an artist, what I mean by that is, like, some people choose jobs where they really struggle to audition, or it's really hard for them to do their art and to go to classes or whatever. Do you feel like that was helpful for you?
It was, but only because I had the best boss ever, Andy Norman. Shout out to Andy.
Shout out to Andy. Andy
I love
is
him
the best.
So much. He's the best. And he knew when he hired me that I wanted to be an actor. And he also knew that I wasn't coming there to try to like infiltrate though, and like
Yeah.
and be in that, like get in where I could fit in. No, I needed a job, and I was fine with keeping the world separate if he would just allow me to work
Yeah.
for him. And I'm like, I'm not gonna try to get in where I fit. Like, I have an agent, that's their job. And again, when I did get auditions for you, it wasn't from me like soliciting or trying to talk to you on the side.
Right.
I had an agent to do
Yeah.
that for me, and I went to work, and I made that money, and I had those benefits, and it was helpful because of my boss, really, because corporate isn't always flexible. But he would let me leave for auditions, or he understood. And so that was just my little extra blessing and like favor in that situation.
Now, you had something, and I do not remember the name of it.
Okay.
It was something like about how you don't have to struggle and be an artist. What was the name of that?
It was called The Non-Starving
Artist.
The
Non-Starving Artist.
Yes. Can
you just speak upon that a little bit?
Yeah, so I had started this like blog / I don't know if it was like a video series at the time. This was like 2015, 16, where I would highlight different artists and also talk about my own journey. Just the fact that when you're pursuing an art form, it can take a while before you can get to do it full time. We all know this. But it doesn't mean that you have to give up on your art, and it also doesn't mean that you have to give up on living well. Okay, and living comfortably. And so I think we have to be open to that balance, and that's what the site was about, of what it really means to be a non-starving artist. How do you stay hungry as an artist, but also grind and be proactive? And I know grind culture is kind of out right now, but but also stay proactive about making a living and having income. And that was kind of the whole premise of it. I am trying to bring it back at some point, but I need to figure out in what capacity.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that transition out of corporate?
Mm-hmm.
So that transition when you left corporate into what? What did you leave, and what did that look like for you? Yeah,
so I worked at Tyler Perry Studios for I think 3 or 4 years consistently, and I started to book a lot of acting work, not just TV and film, but also theater.
Okay.
And I was doing a lot of theater around Atlanta, and I started booking better and better theater jobs, which means that like when you're working for the good theaters, the bigger theaters, they rehearse during the day.
Right, exactly.
And as I continued to climb that ladder, it was getting harder to balance the corporate job.
Okay.
So I got to a point where I'm like, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna go for it full time. I think this was 2017.
Okay.
Gave Andy my 2 weeks notice.
Wow.
And, it was like a whole thing. And it wasn't because I had booked like some big series regular role. It was because I had so many theater projects in addition to TV things lined up back to back to back.
Yeah.
I knew it was time.
Wow.
It was so scary. I saved X amount of dollars. Like I had like, okay, I'm going to save this much. Now this was, again, 2016, so pre-inflation. If I say the number now, y'all going to laugh at me. But, back then I thought it was a cute amount.
Was it, you don't have to say the number, but like, was it like 2 months rent, or like how much would you equate it to?
Sure. It was like, let's say it was like 2 to 3 months of like, I could live off of this.
Okay, I got you.
In 2016.
Right.
Okay. So I was like, okay, like I'm good, right?
Yes.
So I saved that amount of money. I had these theater gigs lined up, and I went for it. I leapt.
Wow.
And and wow is the next part of that. And wow.
So what is the wow? So you left corporate.
Yes.
You have your theater gigs. And then wow.
And wow.
What was that wow?
Okay, the wow was, I love theater, but it doesn't pay enough.
What were you getting paid at the time? Do you remember?
Sure. I think.
And this is 2016.
Yep.
So this is.
But I think for, let's say somewhere between $500 and $700, like a week or something.
Got you.
Probably more like $5. Though.
Okay.
I know it's on the lower end.
Okay.
So that, but I also had some TV things that I would book here and there, which paid a bit more. So, and again, these are still co-star roles.
Yeah.
So fine, right? The wow was, I've taken this leap. I have this money saved. I am working consistently, but life catches up to saved money very quickly.
Right.
when there's no income coming in.
Right.
And before I knew it, I left the job in 2017. By, I would say, early to mid 2018, I was driving Uber.
Wow.
I was, because I needed income.
That was your wow.
That was my wow.
Yeah.
And I it did not look, taking that leap of faith, but also that leap of like, yeah, it's a leap of faith, but I got all this lined up. Like, you've shown me that clearly I'm doing something right. Like, I can go for it.
Yeah.
The wow was, even with all of that, still having to, not even humble myself, but having to get back to that place of like, man, am I starting over? Like, or even you still have those slow seasons and those dark seasons. It doesn't matter.
It seems like it's so interesting because like within the industry, like, especially as an actor, there's all these highs and I don't want to say lows, but there's these moments of like, ooh, I've booked this, I have this, and it's like, okay, now what? I'm in the back. Okay,
Correct.
oh, I've booked this, and it's kind of now what, you know?
Yes.
So managing the I'll say the lows because I can't think of another word. It's just fascinating to me.
Yeah, and it's just a part of it.
Wow.
It just is what it is. So again, that was 2018. I think at the top of 2018, I did a theater show, just like a two-hander, me and one other actor. It was great.
Yeah.
It was a great moment
I love that show.
in my
I
career.
remember that. It was at the Horizon Theater.
Yes, at Horizon. Yep.
Absolutely.
And it was great. And then again, late, whatever, 2018, I'm driving Uber, and then I'm also I'm getting auditions, I'm booking, and it got to a point where I was booking so consistently, but only co-star roles because that was the only thing that was available.
Here. Yeah.
And I knew at a certain point that I was ready for more, but that I had hit a ceiling in Atlanta. And so that's when I took another leap of faith and moved to New York with not much money.
Wow.
And did that, and then got an audition through my Atlanta agent for Boomerang.
That's okay.
And
so
that became,
I want to talk about that.
Yes.
So you go from Atlanta to New York, and you did an audition that brought you back to Atlanta.
Yes, because God is a comedian.
Right, and a lot of actors say that.
Yes.
So do you feel like you had to leave Atlanta in order to come back and get a larger role? And I'm only saying that because, you know, I think a lot of actors feel like once they went to another market, they were more seen or they were more considered for the larger roles that they may not have been considered for here. And I'm not saying that you can't book here in Atlanta.
Right.
But what was that like for you?
I think that it's a two-sided answer. I think on a spiritual level, I had to go to New York to get that job.
Ooh.
Right? I think I had to...
Can we go into that a little bit?
Yes,
okay? Take us to church a little bit. Continue.
Yes, I had to really walk in my faith.
Yeah.
I had to show God that I wasn't just saying it, but that I was willing to do whatever it took. I feel like on a spiritual level, I did have to go to New York just to have to come back to Atlanta.
Wow.
And book that very significant role. It wasn't a series regular initially. It started as a recurring guest star, even though I was in the majority of the episodes. And so I want to do a quick pause for that. Stop playing with Atlanta. Stop playing with Atlanta.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, but it was not a series regular role. It was a recurring guest star, heavy recur. And so, you know, I think I had to, again, take that leap of faith on a spiritual level. Now, in terms of did I have to go to New York to be more seen in the Atlanta market? For that specific role, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because it did come through my Atlanta agent. So I think I would have gotten that audition either way.
Right. Got you.
But I do believe that moving to New York, getting a different agent, like I no longer have an Atlanta agent.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So it opened those other avenues, and I think that has been, unfortunately, an asset to my journey.
You know, it's interesting because we also auditioned another actress, and she also doesn't have, she lives here still, but she also does not have a Atlanta-based agent. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. And so she booked a really prominent film in on Netflix. And I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're talking about Jeanne.
Yes, absolutely.
We used to have the same Southeast agent.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that, unfortunately, even though Atlanta has grown so much as a market, the opportunities still aren't all the way there. And that's not Atlanta's fault. That's just the name of the game in the industry.
So where are you now in terms of, do you live in Atlanta now? Do you consider yourself bi-coastal, or do you consider yourself, or are you still kind of in New York? in LA and Atlanta. Where would you consider yourself right now?
I exist between Atlanta and New York.
Okay.
I would say. Like I spent all of last summer in New York making my Broadway
yes.
debut.
Oh, yes. Oh, we got to get into that.
So, yes. I exist between Atlanta and New York. My agents are out of New York. Love them. They're amazing. And then my manager is actually out of LA.
Wow.
And that's just what it is.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Broadway real quick?
Please.
Run it up.
Please.
Now, Brittany, I've seen a lot of the work that you've done. I feel like they always give you the really hard stuff because they, you know what I'm saying?
That's funny.
Because they know you can do it.
That's
but
kind.
like when I think of you, it's like, okay, I think, oh yeah, I saw you in a 2-person play here in Atlanta. You had to do all those daggone episodes, and you was in Paris and whatnot, and then
Boomerang.
it's like, thank you, yes. And then you did, and then you do this play, and it's such a phenomenal play. So the play is Home. And which theater was it at in New York?
Roundabout Theater Company.
At the Roundabout Theater Company. And I cannot imagine how demanding that was on you. It's only 3 people. You sang, you played a bunch of different characters. You're on stage from the very moment we begin to the very moment we end. What was Broadway like for you? And not just Broadway, though, but like Broadway and you having to be a third of the cast to carry the show.
Yeah. Home by Sam Art Williams. It is, first of all, it's his magnum opus.
Okay.
It is a beast of a piece.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, and you came to see it. Thank you for coming to support me. It, even just on paper, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
So just reading it, I was already afraid.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I was terrified. As far as, it was very challenging. Broadway is challenging. But to have a show like that where there are no bells and whistles, no smoke and mirrors, it's really the actor's job to take all 3 actors to take that audience on a journey and have them see all these different people. I think between Story Ayers and I, who we played the multiple characters, the 2 of us, between us, we played like 40 different people.
Wow.
And it's our job to transform. We don't have time for costume changes. It moves so quickly. It's a 90-minute show. It was very demanding, and it really highlighted for me the fact that actors are athletes.
Oh, gosh.
Especially theater actors. And, I started in the theater. Theater
actors
is where I believe the greatest actors are born and bred.
Yeah.
That's just my belief. No offense to anyone. But I think that the theater breeds greatness. It breeds athleticism. It breeds intentionality. And it forces you to, especially if you start in community theater, you learn every aspect, every facet. You can't just act.
Yeah.
If you're doing community theater, which is like kind of how I started, you help with costuming, you help with lights, you do everything, you help with the set. And so it really just helps you settle into having a respect for the craft as a whole, not just your role as an actor.
Can we talk about training?
Sure.
Because there is no freaking way that you could have done a show like Home without training. There's no way.
That's true.
So what does your training look like? What did it look like? What does it look like? Can you speak on that? Because I don't think you can get around it, especially with the stage, as you mentioned.
Yeah. So I am a class girl. I believe in acting class. I believe in training. I remember when I first realized I really wanted to be an actor. I've been singing for my whole life. Yeah. And I realized that I had a little bit of a natural knack for acting, but I immediately, the overachiever type A in me, did not want to rely on that.
Yeah.
And it was never going to be enough. But it wasn't going to be enough. Yeah. But I also was adamant, I don't want to rely on that. So I found my way first into community theater, which is its own training ground.
Absolutely.
In a sense. And then class after class after class. I can't even name them all for you. In addition to, I did a Steppenwolf intensive one summer. I think that was back in 2015.
How long was that? Like how many weeks?
I think it was 2 weeks.
Okay.
But it was like being in grad school. And it was really hard and the hours were really long.
Okay.
And you had to audition again. It was a lot.
Got it.
I have done some of everything because, again, I got my degree in music. And I just didn't have the energy to go back to school.
From where? Where'd you get your degree from?
Spelman College.
There you go.
Okay, the #1 HBCU. And you got your Spelman Blue. She's honorary. She's honorary.
I'm honorary. I've been doing this for years.
Forever. But yes, so I got my degree in music, and I didn't have going back to school formally in me.
Yeah.
But I do have a student that lives in me forever, and I'm going to train and I'm going to learn. And so I sought out the people who did have those MFAs and and they were my teachers.
Got you.
In addition to, once I moved to New York, I was with Anthony Abeson for many years, and he's a brilliant actor and acting instructor. Somebody know what I'm talking about. He studied with Stella Adler and like all the greats. He's phenomenal. Nice. So I learned a lot from him. I think that you're always training, though. Yeah. I think the greats are always training. Like even when I was on Boomerang, or maybe it had just gotten canceled or something, and I was back in class. Yeah. And when people would meet me, or they'd find out like, oh, you're on the show, and what are you doing here? Yeah. I would get that question all the time. Like, you're on a show. What are you doing here? Right. Why would I not be here? Yeah. You know what I mean? That was one show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it got canceled, and it was one character. Like I'm so much more than that. And just think about, to your point about home. Okay, if I had done Boomerang and then like I'm good, I don't need to do anything. How could I have ever been prepared to do home all those years later? Yeah. It's not possible. Yeah. Without that continued training, staying in class, even watching things. Sometimes if there's not a class available to me, I'm looking up old movies or things that rewatching things. That is a form of training too. Yeah. Depending on if you can't watch it just as an audience member. You watch it from a specific lens. Absolutely. You're studying in that way too. Yeah. I do all of it. Okay. Yeah.
Have you turned down auditions?
All the time. How much time do you have?
Really?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so why? Like, what are the parameters, or what are your boundaries that make you turn down auditions?
So there's a few things. I forget who came up with this concept. It's something about the 3 Ps: the project, the pay, and the people.
Ooh, okay.
Attached to it. And I really live my life by that when it comes to auditions. When I see a project, does the work resonate with me? Gotcha. Does the character resonate? Is it representing something that I feel is an asset to my community, or is it something that I feel could be harmful to my community? What that money look like? And that's not always number one, but it is absolutely a factor.
Because you're going to give your time for
That's
it.
Right. Yeah. And then who are the people attached? Are these people I admire, respect, have always wanted to work with? And that doesn't mean famous people either. I just mean like anyone, just great artists. Yeah. So I live my life by that. And I also always tell actors when they're asking me for advice or whatever, your no has so much power. Oh. It has just as much power as the yes, and sometimes even more. Yes. And not only your no, but also the no's you receive. We always want to talk about the yeses that we receive and the bookings and the this, but the no's you receive are important too. Absolutely. Because they're keeping your portal and your pathway open for what's really meant to come to you.
Come on.
And I am adamant about my no. And I say no.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. I wish more actors knew that they have the power to say, like, you don't have to just accept everything that comes to you.
And why would you want to?
And why would you want to?
Like, it's okay. Like, this is your career. You get to carve out how you want it to look. You don't have to say yes.
No one's making you do this,
Correct.
You know?
Correct.
Oh, that's so good.
Correct.
This was not a question I initially gave you, but I thought about it.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm not trying to get your business, but I do want to ask about. So you are married.
I am.
And I want to ask about. Maybe I should ask your husband this.
Okay, I'll try to.
But it's like I'm wondering, like, what is it? What is his? In your opinion, what has his experience been like being married to an actress, who has to go to New York or LA or audition? And what do you think, how has he encouraged you, spoken to the dreamer in you, the artist in you, as a married couple?
Yeah, well, and my husband is not in the industry at all.
Okay.
So, and I like that. It's a balance that works for us. I think that I hate when people tell actors, like, don't date an actor or don't, I don't think that that's true. I think it's a case-by-case basis.
Gotcha.
But for me and my household, it works.
Okay.
And, he's first of all, he's so supportive, so
Good.
encouraging. He's totally like down for whatever, especially when it comes to the work. Like if I say, oh babe, I got this audition, or I booked something and it films in Bangkok. Okay, what's up? Like like he's very supportive in terms of like, I believe in you. I know these are your dreams. Go get them.
Got you.
So I really appreciate that. In terms of having to travel sometimes and be away from each other, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, and it's not always fun, but we make it work and we try to make it fun.
Good.
Like when I was in New York for all those months doing home, we planned like, okay, were you coming for this, amount of time? And like, okay, we're going to do this. And we just try to have something to look forward to, to not have to think so much and focus so much on being apart. Yeah, he's very supportive and very understanding. It can be difficult, especially with like love scenes and kissing and all. It's a lot. And here's the thing. People always want to make it like,
we were just talking about this.
Yeah.
So, what are your boundaries in terms of like and each other's boundaries in terms of like, love scenes and things like that?
So he knows that we're just not going to disgrace the family. Okay. We're not going to disgrace the household. Like, he knows that we're on the same page about that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, if we're telling a story and I'm married to someone, I'm going to kiss that person on the lips. We're telling a story and these people are married. This has to be believable.
Absolutely.
Like, come on. So that's easy. That's fine.
Yeah.
In terms of like love scenes, things like that, I've had to do 2 so far in my career. One of them I was fully clothed because guess what? Sometimes you don't have time for the clothes to come off. Okay, and my thing is about nudity specifically when it comes to storytelling. It's like, is it really, do we need it to tell the story? It doesn't mean that they didn't make love or they didn't. No, I'm not saying that is gone. Do you need the bosom?
Agreed.
Do you need the booty? Or do sometimes you're so enthralled and in it that it's a hike up? Or that it's, come on, we're telling stories. We're telling, and we want them to be realistic stories.
Yes.
Sometimes you don't have time to get the bra off. Like, let's just be real. We're all grown here.
Absolutely.
So you don't need that. And we are storytellers. This is not, no offense to anyone who works in this industry, but this is not pornographic storytelling. Now, there's a place for that as well.
Right,
okay,
exactly.
that is its own art form, but that is not what we're doing. So then you don't necessarily need that for it to be believable.
Understood.
That's my personal belief.
I
and that's what we believe in my household.
I love that. I love that. And I love that he supports you in that.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
that. So
he's the best.
So what are you looking forward to?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I am looking forward to continuing to tell really great stories that have a positive impact on my community, meaning Black people, meaning Black women, meaning all women, meaning HBCU graduates. I mean, there's so many communities that I belong to, and I just really want to be a part of telling, impactful, intentional. And not saying that they all have to be perfect characters either, but impactful and intentional stories that really push our culture forward and that push the craft of storytelling forward.
I love that.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
I love that. I know that you're already doing it. I know you're going to keep on doing it.
Thanks, Ray.
All right. So I have these questions I ask every guest.
Yes.
I'm excited to ask you.
Okay.
All right. So what has been your favorite age thus far?
Ooh. You know what? I think my current age, which is 35, loud and proud.
Congratulations.
Okay, actors, do not be ashamed of your age, okay? That's BS. 35, because I feel the most in tune with myself that I've ever felt.
Yeah.
I also feel like I'm an old soul, and I feel like I'm finally the age that my soul has maybe always been, if that makes sense. I feel the most at peace. I feel the most like not trying to force anything in my life. I'm really in a flow. That's the word I'm looking for. I feel the most in a flow that I've ever felt in my life. I trust the process. I trust the journey of not only my life, but my career.
Yeah.
I'm no longer trying to, I need this, or, oh, she got that, or he got that.
Yeah.
Whatever is for me, I trust that it's on its way to me. I trust that I'm already existing in it. And this is the first time in my life that I've really been able to sit in that and believe it and know it.
I love that. I'm a little older than 35, but I loved 35. I thought that 35 was a beautiful age, so that's good. All right, nice. All right, so if you weren't an actor, what would you be doing?
Ooh, it's so hard. Probably singing is the first thing that comes, which I know I still kind of do, but
it's in the family. But still,
yeah, or teaching.
Okay.
Yeah, I love language. I love words, and I love, like, I can see myself editing a mean, nasty essay.
Yeah. All right, so brunch or happy hour?
Oh, brunch. Because
me
one,
too.
I love breakfast food, and two, I don't drink. So brunch me.
Brunch it is.
All
brunch
day
it
long.
Is.
Yeah.
What do you love about being an artist in the Southeast region?
Ooh, that's a great question. And it's so nuanced for me because, again, we were talking about, like, with the reps and all of that. But I do spend a lot of my time here. And I would say the thing I love the most, actually, is the access to nature.
Really?
That we have here. The quality of life that we have and that access to nature, for me, it helps me stay grounded in what's real.
Yes.
And I think as an actor, as an artist, you need that. You cannot be, Anthony Abeson talks about this a lot too, you cannot be constantly scrolling on your phone and just taking in information and humanity through a screen.
Yeah. You have to
if
live
you're
it.
going to reflect humanity back to itself.
Yeah.
And I think that being able to just have access to, like, grass and trees, like the real world and the things that really matter in this life, make me a better, stronger artist.
That's so good.
Yeah.
It's part of one of the reasons why I even bought this home, because like I have trees all around me.
Beautiful.
And I'm like, it's just something that feels very revitalizing about being in this space.
Yes.
I love that. What's the most challenging thing you've done lately?
The most challenging thing I've done lately, getting my money together.
Come on.
For real.
Come on.
That has been quite a journey. And I think that actors specifically, but all artists, we don't talk about money enough.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean like what we're making or not making, because sometimes we do talk about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
But how to manage money, how to make your money work for you, investing, Roth IRAs, things that you need, especially when, retirement. Yeah, like that's a Roth IRA account specifically when you are a gig worker and you don't have a 401k or somebody paying into it. I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but I've been in my financial bag, and it's like, it's been challenging, but also very rewarding. And I think we need to start talking about it more for artists so that people aren't growing old. You know, so often the narrative is like, I'm an actor. Actors don't retire. That may be so. We don't. We love what we do. Cicely Tyson was working till 90, the very end.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And that's beautiful. Was she working because she had to? That's the question that nobody's asking.
Absolutely.
And even if she is still working because she loves it, it would be great if she had X, Y, and Z set up so that she doesn't have to say yes, going back to what we were just talking about, to everything that comes across her desk.
Absolutely.
She can rest in what she's been able to build for herself and then say yes to the work that inspires her. And I think that we have to be focused on that as we continue to grow older in this craft, in this profession.
Did you do that on your own, or did you have someone like a advisor or something help you?
Ish. So I started reading a book first and foremost.
Which book?
I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
Okay.
By Ramit Sethi. I think that's how you say his name.
Okay.
And the title is just to, grab your attention. It's so much deeper than that.
Okay.
It's really about how to cultivate your own rich life.
Got it.
And what that means to you. It's not just, but he had to make the title catchy.
Yeah.
So it's I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. And I then also started talking. When you're reading something, you start talking about it more.
Yeah.
And from talking to people, my sister and other people, I have been connected with an advisor as well. So that's been the most challenging but rewarding thing I've done lately.
I love that. Yeah. And so what makes you feel alive?
What makes me feel alive? Creating art, obviously, but I also try not to make my entire life in existence about this business because, again, as you grow older,
it's very easy to do that.
It's very easy to do that, and you don't want to attach your whole identity to what you do.
Yeah.
And I love being an actor. It is the thing that gives me life and that makes me feel alive. But there's also so much more to life that makes me feel alive. And I would say being in nature, being near water, having quality time with my family, my husband, those things make me feel really alive and like just a human being. And that in turn serves my art. So
you're so inspiring, Brittany. So inspiring. If people want to follow you, your journey, how can they get in touch with you or see what you're up to? I know you're not on the internet as much.
I'm not on there as much, but I still have the pages. Okay, I'll be back. I'm back at work on season 5 of the Miss Pat show.
There you go. Yes.
We're here. Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at Brittany Inge. Brittany spelled the correct way. And Inge is INGE. It rhymes with binge, as in binge watch. Okay. And also I have a website, BrittanyInge.com. So yeah.
You are lovely.
Thanks,
Thank
Ray.
you so much. This has been lovely. Wonderful. Great job.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Yes, cheers. Yes, we didn't even
We've been
drink.
talking so much.
I know. Look, cheers.
Oh, that's good.
Huh?